Next, from Chicago, we talk one-on-one with Jim Buchanan, business manager for Pipefitters Local 597. We'll hear how an upgrade to the Whiting, Indiana refinery is creating thousands of new jobs for his union members, how the upgrade will allow the refinery to use oil from the Canadian oil sands, and in the process, make America less dependent on oil from overseas. This runs about 20 minutes.
Jim Buchanan with the Pipefitters 597. Thanks for joining us on the Illinois Channel.
Thanks for having me, Terry. I appreciate it.
There's a major project going on at the refinery over in Whiting, Indiana, just across the border with Illinois, that your membership is heavily involved in. What can you tell us about that? Give us an overview, because I think a lot of people are unaware of what's happening on what is a significant upgrade.
Yeah, Terry, thank you. Yeah, we have a big proportion of my membership working over in Whiting, Indiana. The BP refinery is basically what happens is they're building a brand new refinery inside an existing refinery to accommodate Canadian crude. So they've redone the systems in there. They've completely rebuilt the refinery. We have, Terry, probably approximately 2,500 members working there today. We're working day shift, afternoon, or an evening shift. We're working overtime. We're also working 40 hours. We're also maintaining the plant that we originally do all the time. So any turnarounds that were scheduled on the old equipment, we are maintaining that while we are building a brand new facility for them. Right now, the last number that I had was there's approximately 1,400 total people working on this project, including BP's people. So it's probably the biggest project at this time in North America, I'll be very honest with you, and we're proud to be associated with that project. And
what's the purpose of the project? I mean, what's it going to accomplish? You had mentioned
right.
some about the oil sands from Canada.
Right.
Again, what's the upgrade? What the purpose of it?
The whole purpose, I believe, to this refinery addition is to give BP a little bit of an edge in the competitive world of oil. They'll be able to burn 100% crude from Canada, the tar sands, or oil sands if you prefer. And they do 405,000 or 406,000 barrels a day. But the big thing is that they'll be able to take away the byproducts and get rid of them in a safe, sanitary manner right now, thus giving them the edge in the Midwest over here to burn the Canadian crude.
So without this upgrade, they wouldn't be able to use the Canadian oil sand?
Right, that's correct. There were a lot of people are using parts of it. I know some of the other refineries in our local is using a small percentage of it, but right now, when this refinery is redone, Terry, they'll be able to burn 100% Canadian crude, which will be a big savings. And again, I think it'll be a boom for Northwest Indiana.
And I wanted to back up a little bit, just briefly, because a lot of people may not know. They hear the word pipe fitters. What is a pipe fitter? What does a pipe fitter do?
Well, again, a pipe fitter is basically in the heavy industrial sector here in the Chicagoland area. One of our main crafts is to be a welder and a certified welder. We also do process pipe systems. We do nuclear powerhouses. We do chemical factories. We do sanitary systems. We do food products. We do heating, air conditioning. We do a whole multitude. Everything other than drinking water and sanitary purposes is the work of the pipe fitters. So we are approximately a membership of about 10,000 members here in the Chicagoland area.
Are those all active workers, or is that with retirees?
I have about 6,800 active and probably 3,300 retirees at the moment right now.
How do you get enough warm bodies when you get a project come online like the Whiting Refinery to handle it?
Well, that's been a work in progress. We've been working on this project probably 4 or 5 years now. Right now we are at the peak of manpower for pipe fitters. We have gone throughout the whole United States and Canada. We've recruited welders, pipe fitters, supervision, quality control people, instrument technicians, and we've had them motor on down here to Northwest Indiana. We give them a permit to work in our local over here. All their benefits go back to their home locals where they come from. And when the job's over, they'll go back to their home locals. They're called travelers, and we really appreciate their effort in coming up here and subsidizing our manpower with good skilled craftsmen and again, being able to get the job done safe and on time.
It's kind of fascinating in this time when everyone's lamenting the lack of jobs and the poor economy that, and which is why I think this is a fascinating story on a variety of levels, that the Whiting Refinery you're scraping to find enough people to do the job because the enormity of its size.
Yeah, again, I think across the United States and Canada, there's a real shortage of welders, certified welders, pipe welders. Again, if we take a look at other crafts and they have their certain characteristics, one of them is we weld 360 degrees. We teach our people in the apprenticeship program how to weld 360 degrees, X-ray quality welds. We're one of the few crafts left that teach this for a living. This is what we do for a living in the heavy industrial sector of our jurisdiction. And again, we have approximately 1,000 kids in our apprenticeship program right now at our school in Mokina, Illinois. It's a 5-year program. They come out with about 2,000 hours a year of training and school time. And at the end of 5 years, they become a journeyman, and we pride ourselves on making sure that they have skills that last them a lifetime. So myself, I've got 42 years in this business right now. I came out of the same training that we're training today. So it served myself well, it served my family well, and we're very proud of our organization here in Chicago.
Going back to the refinery, and we were talking about that it's being upgraded because of the ability then to use the Canadian oil sands. And what is the total scope in dollars, do you know, of the project? How much is this a $1 billion project, a $2 billion?
I believe, Terry, to be honest with you, it started out close to $4.5 billion, and I believe it's higher than that right now because of delays, material, what have you. This project was supposed to start, a long time ago, and we're glad to see that it did get started. But we've been working on this project well over 4 years now.
Whereabouts does it stand as far as progress? I mean, when would it be completed?
They're going to be opening up units here shortly over here, probably in the fall of the year. And again, once a new unit comes online, they have to demo the old units. So there's tie-ins. It's a complex system to put together, but we feel very confident that everything will go smoothly, not only for BP and their people and their supervisors, but our people working on the project.
Now, the refineries, as people may or may not know, basically cook the oil and get various byproducts, gasoline being one, but there's others. But you have to get the oil to the refinery. How's that being done? Obviously, the Canadian oil sands are out in the west coast of Canada.
Yeah, Terry, we also do, in Northwest Indiana as well as the state of Illinois, we do pipeline work. We have the jurisdiction over here, so the pipelines have been laid, and again, they're pumping oil into the distribution in Griffith, Indiana. And again, it'll be distributed to BP when the call is, when it's needed over here, when the units are complete. So I believe their capacity will not increase, but what it'll do, it'll be allow them to do 405,000 barrels of Canadian crude, which is a significant savings for BP, and they'll have the edge in the refining business in this area.
And on the, we've heard discussion in the news about the Keystone Pipeline. There's the Enbridge Company. Are these tied into that project as far as the Whiting?
Yeah, Terry, that'll all be throughout the grid over here. Excuse me, again, Enbridge will be going down to the Gulf Coast down there. We're hoping that ours will come through Patoka, Illinois, into the system here and up to BP in Whiting, Indiana, as well as feeding ExxonMobil, as well as feeding Citgo Refinery also here in our area here.
I think a lot of people they don't realize the role of pipelines in our society. They don't know that there are pipelines crisscrossing the United States. Just as we have the electric grid, we have a pipeline grid, you might say, moving a lot of product, primarily oil and gas and those kind of things. But the president had put a hold on the Keystone Pipeline for environmental concerns. Obviously no one wants to have some pipeline rupture and have oil going out onto the field or a gas explosion. Let's talk about the safety and the stability of a pipeline from your standpoint.
Again, from my standpoint today, Terry, if you take a look at the pipeline industry today, which is 40, 50 years old in some cases, that are still being utilized underground over here. Today's technology, today's safety standards, today's pipe, today's weld rod, today's journeyman pipe fitter installing these, and the crews that install these pipelines are far more safer than they were 10 years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago. A good example is the Alaskan pipeline. When they put that in years ago over there, it was the life expectancy was 30, 40 years. Well, we're there, and they've got good safe conditions over there. And again, Enbridge today, the Canadian crude pipeline, I believe, will be safe for many, many years to come. And hopefully we take a look at the anomalies of the pipelines that are existing. Do we have to dig them up? Do we have to repair them? That's something that will be left up to the government as well as the inspectors and these pipeline contractors throughout the United States. So again, Enbridge today will be the safest installed pipeline, I believe. And again, we can only hope in the future that we'll build on that.
And you brought up something I thought was interesting. We had talked before about we bring up pipelines that are being built, such as Keystone, but people forget that there are many buried pipelines and ones that have been created in decades past. What are the conditions? Is that something that is going to have to be addressed as far as upgrading the infrastructure of those existing pipelines?
Yeah, and that's done, it's regulated, and it's done every day. But again, we got to understand one thing, that these pipelines have been in the ground for a very, very long time. They've been pushing product through those pipes for many, many years. And as like anything else, they wear down. And again, I believe they're all safe. But again, the infrastructure in the future will have to be redone. And some of these pipelines will have to be redug up, put back in there brand new, and keep on keeping our pipelines moving and our gas and oil throughout the United States of America.
Jim, going back to the overall project of the Whiting facility, in the big picture, what does it mean to the man on the street, the person living in the Midwest here? What would it do for them?
Yeah. Terry, that's a great question, and we've gone through this question for the last 5, 6, 7 years. First of all, I personally believe that the Midwest and land-based refineries, we need to have them here in the Midwest to make sure that we have supply for the Midwest. We all seen what Katrina did in the Gulf Coast over here. To have a secure supply of Canadian oil being refined here in the Midwest is our future here for the United States of America, I believe. What it means here in Whiting, Indiana, in Chicagoland area, it means good paying jobs. It continues our work in the piping industry in the future, maintaining this plant, and again, providing jobs, good jobs, at a time in our life over here in our world where jobs are at a premium. And this project could not have come at a better time for the area tradesmen, area business, restaurants, and just the entire concept of this renovation of this refinery. It's just been a godsend for the Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area.
Yeah, as we said earlier, with the economy being what it is, to have a $5 or so billion project with all that entails, and the buying of product, the buying of pipe, the employment of people, and then they going out and buying cars and taking their families to dinner is quite a shot in the arm for an otherwise weak economy at this point.
And again, sending our kids to school, paying taxes in the communities over here that we live in. And again, it's just been a wonderful experience for me as a 42-year member of this local. This is the biggest project that I've been associated with in my lifetime over here. And again, I doubt very much, Terry, if it will ever happen again in the United States. This is, I believe, a once-in-a-lifetime job. And again, there's been so much cooperation between BP, their plant people, Pipefitters Local 597. I couldn't be prouder of the way we've worked together on this project.
And I wanted to follow up. That's a good follow-up on just what you said, because I was going to say, so many times we hear about unions relative to management, and the visuals that people often have are people on strike and this contentiousness. As a business manager of this major union, how do you work out a project like this, of this scope? Do you sit down with the BP officials and they say how many people they need, or just walk us through some of that, and how have the working relationship been with the management side?
Well, Terry, that's a good question, and we started probably 6 years ago with the plant manager, that was there at the time. And we went through all the highs and the lows of getting permits for that refinery. We supported that refinery, not only our people, but our next door neighbors. Everybody wanted that project to go into Northwest Indiana. And again, we sat back over there, and from day one, we've talked about logistics, we've talked about transportation, we talked about parking, we talked about what it means to our people to go in there and give a good day's work for a day's pay. And again, Terry, I'm really, really proud of our membership as well as BP. They have a choice in labor, and they chose to come with Pipefitters Local 597. And I believe they haven't been disappointed. We have not been disappointed. This has probably been one of the safest jobs. And again, just the breadth of this project is just unmatched across the United States. So we are very, very proud of our relationship with BP. We have basically built that plant in the early 1900s. When it had an issue in the 50s, we rebuilt it again. And here we are in 2010, 2012, and we're rebuilding it again for the future. So BP has been just a great partner of ours, as well as we hope to be a great partner of theirs. And going back on labor issues over here in my particular local, we have not had a strike in our history over here. We sit back and we work things out, and we honor our agreements, no strikes, pickets, or lockouts. So we're very proud of our record over here, and again, we're here to be their labor of choice, and they have chosen us, and it's been a great relationship.
Why, do you know why they picked you? I mean, I'm interested, what was the deciding factor that they said, yeah, we want to go with you? Because when they're paying somebody, in effect, $70-something, $75 an hour, it's not like it's because it's cheap labor.
Well, Terry, again, our skill level is second to none. And again, my welders are probably some of the best in the United States and Canada, as well as the world. And again, it's a world-class company that wants world-class refineries here in the Midwest over here, and we provide a service to them with world-class tradesmen, world-class welders that can get their job done on time, safely, on budget, and to be able to supply them with the manpower needed to complete this awesome project. So it's worked very well together, and I believe BP will say the same thing. We're just thrilled to death with the relationship we have had and will have in the future with them.
Jim, on another topic, if I might, the state of Illinois and the Illinois Channel has done extensive coverage of the problems facing the pensions at the state level, and we've heard about the county and municipal levels to some degree. As a business manager at 597, you have a pension. You also said you have I believe you said a voluntary 401k program. I'm interested as to how do you manage your pensions? I presume they're not in the problems that we see in the public sector, and if not, why? How do you manage them to make sure that these pensions are going to be there for when your members need them?
Good question, Terry. Yeah, I'm the chairman of 597's pension fund. We also have a voluntary 401k that is offered to our membership. We also have a mandatory 401k. So again, looking down the road in the future over here, 5 years ago we installed a mandatory 401k. Every pipe fitter now in the year 2012 puts in a mandatory $5 per hour to their 401k. It's put in there and they can't get that until they're 59 and a half years old. The voluntary 401k, they can put up to what the government limits are. I believe after 50, it's 22,000, 22,500, or 17,500 for anybody under 50. So they have that opportunity. Plus, we have a defined contribution retirement plan that has been around since 1953. Presently, we are ranked 721st out of the top 1,000 pension funds in the United States. We are 84% funded. Currently, we're at about $1,400,000,000. This was a dream in 1953 that took effect. It started at a nickel an hour, and over the years, we have built this thing up. Now, we're not immune to the financial world. We lost heavily in the 2008 debacle. But again, we stayed the course. We have professional people running our money. We have contributions that come in every month, and we are back to where we've made up our losses from 2008. And again, we right now have approximately 4,500 retirees and spouses that are collecting a paycheck out of our plan every month. So again, one of our bright spots that I believe for our union and our members, and I care about every member out there, is the pension. It's 84 or 85% funded. It's very, very secure. We'll be writing checks for a long time out of that fund to our people over here.
Did you say it's a defined contribution or defined benefit plan? In other words, are you guaranteeing them a certain amount when they retire, or,
Right.
or do you
We're guaranteeing them a certain amount. It's based on years of service and hours worked. So again, that benefit will be there for them. They've earned it. We cannot take it away. They will not lose it. So we have three issues that we can go out with, and in the future, our guys will be financially, hopefully, secure.
Was it your idea to institute the mandatory $5 an hour 401k, and if so,
Yes.
why?
If so, why? I just think in the future over here, looking at how I started in 1970 and where we're at today, if you project that out, Terry, in the next 20, 30 years, we may not be able to put that kind of money into a defined contribution plan. We have to start preparing ourselves to take care of ourselves. And with that being said over here, I believe every pipe fitter can live on the salaries we're making. And again, if we make sure that they're preparing for their future, if you take a 30-year career in our local today, and again, a man should walk out here, or a woman should walk out here with $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 to subsidize their pension as well as their Social Security. And I would believe in the future, you're going to need every penny you're going to be able to put underneath in your wallet over here to survive.
I congratulate you on that, because it's really the way it was supposed to be set up, where Social Security was only one of the three-legged stool, that you had your savings and your others, and so to do it.
And Terry, our members have wholeheartedly embraced the mandatory 401k as well as the voluntary and our pension funds. So it's been a great success. Our members are proud of it. Again, I just wish myself personally 40 years ago I would have had it.
What do you say? What do you think when you read about all the problems in the pension systems with the state and those being operated by the government? What are your thoughts? What advice would you have as far as them, since you're running one that's being run successfully?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I really believe that the funding levels have got to be increased over here. I think a good look at the future, what are your needs going to be? And again, you can't walk around with 30, 35% funding levels, and sooner or later it's going to fall apart and it's going to be a terrible issue. So, not the smartest person in the world, but again, I think it's all based on contributions and in some cases how they've spent the pension dollars and the investment process. They've made some terrible investments over the years, I would think. And again, I do believe that people that contribute to these pension funds should be entitled to their benefits, and I hope everybody gets them in the future. Here at 597, we are adamant about that issue over here. We are in the green zone, and that's where we're going to stay. And like I say, the members pay for this pension out of their earnings, and ours is a pretty bright future right now.
Well, Jim Buchanan, we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us on the Illinois Channel.
It's my pleasure.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.